The Leadership in Law podcast is powered by Law Marketing Zone. Transform your firm's digital presence with expert marketing solutions tailored exclusively for attorneys at lawmarketingzone.com.
Welcome to the Leadership in Law podcast with host Marilyn Jenkins. Cut through the noise, get actionable insights and inspiring stories delivered straight to your ears. Your ultimate podcast for navigating the ever-changing world of law firm ownership. In each episode, we dive deep into the critical topics that matter most to you, from unlocking explosive growth to building a thriving team. We connect you with successful firm leaders and industry experts who share their proven strategies and hard-won wisdom. So, whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting your journey as a law firm owner, the Leadership in Law podcast is here to equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to build a successful and fulfilling legal practice.
Welcome to another episode of the Leadership in Law podcast. I'm your host, Marilyn Jenkins. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Sue Bounlutay, to the show today. Sue is the founder of Zinger Consulting, a company that helps law firms increase revenue by mastering the client acquisition and enrollment process. Sue previously served as the Director of Attorney Success for a national legal marketing company. She developed and trained support teams responsible for handling thousands of incoming leads and guiding prospective clients through the hiring decision. Over the course of her career, Sue has personally worked with thousands of attorneys across the nation, helping them refine their client acquisition process, improve consultation conversion rates, and build the operational systems necessary to scale their practices. Today, through Zinger Consulting, Sue works directly with attorneys and their teams to implement the structures and systems that turn consultations into signed clients and allow firms to grow with greater predictability and profitability. I'm excited to have you here, Sue. Welcome.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your leadership journey.
I have been in the legal industry, I think, all of my career in various capacity, from file clerk all the way up to Credit Zinger. So I have been doing this pretty much for as long as I know. I don't think I know anything else other than being in the legal industry. But I think the most notable thing that would be interest to your audience is the fact that right before COVID, as you all know, I pivoted and went and worked with the legal marketing company where I had the opportunity to work with literally thousands and thousands of attorneys in a different capacity than what I was doing before. And so what I did with them was I helped attorneys during that time. As you remember, with COVID, a lot of attorneys were struggling in terms of keeping their doors open by getting clients retained. So what I would do with the attorneys was I literally would work with them, figure out what was wrong with their intake process, how they were having conversations with potential clients, figure out what the block was, come up with a game plan on how to undo that, and then we were off running. So
wow,
that's kind of, yeah, it's been a very interesting and fulfilling journey.
I love that. And you've said that many law firms lose up to 70% of their clients that they've already paid to acquire. What's really happening there?
I think one of the things that attorneys don't realize, first of all, when we go to law school, we're taught and we're trained to how to do the practice of law, right? How to analyze and break down arguments and present our attorney's case, our client's case. When it comes to client intake, it's a whole different framework. What they're really dealing with is how do you communicate with potential clients in a way that will get them to understand and get them to want to work with the attorneys. It's really a training. It's a sales training, right? It's a business growth training.
Right.
And that's not something that we're taught. And law school is not meant to be that. And so when attorneys graduate from law school, and if they don't end up going into big law firms, they open up their own practice. What ends up happening is all of a sudden you have the skills to be an attorney, but you have no clue of what it takes to actually build a law practice.
Right.
And so there's a huge gap. between law school and being in practice and having your own law practice.
I love that. You're absolutely right. So thinking about the client journey, customer journey, when do most of those losses occur? Is it intake, consultation, or follow-up?
I think before I get into that, I think I would like to talk about the source makes a difference, right? Let's start in the beginning. Most attorneys don't, it's not something we think about. What I mean when I source is, where are your clients, potential clients coming from? There's generally two ways to do that. There's basically, it's lead source, right? There's a lot of times when you're first starting out, solo or small firms, is you have to figure out, where am I going to get my clients? And there's basically two routes. The first route is usually it's lead generation, meaning there's a company out there that all they do is find potential clients, whether it's usually on the internet right nowadays. It's all on the internet. They find potential clients and then they send them to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one method. That's called lead generation company, right? You're actually hiring a company to do that for you. And in that scenario, basically the company is the one that's interfacing with the potential client. They do what they need to do, they figure it out, and then they send them to you. Then there's a second way of getting clients, and that is where, what companies like you do. Basically, they do direct marketing. And when I say direct marketing is, for example, if you have a website, you work with somebody, I'm sorry, I don't know the terms, just because it's completely out of my range. I'm kind of, excuse me, the vocab, I'm not going to get the language right, is you work with somebody like Marilyn, where if you have a website, you focus on SEOs so that you rank. Mm-hmm. When people go on a Google search and your firm, like Awesome Law Firm, you want to be, since it's awesome, right? You want to be the first that people see when they Google you, they do a search and they click on that. Mm-hmm. So that's one way. Or another way is, as many of us are familiar now, they do what is LSA or local search.
Local service ads, yeah.
Exactly, where they actually directly advertise. So that's direct marketing. The reason why this is important is because how you approach the different type of clients that are coming your way, your strategy when it's coming from lead generation is going to be different than when they're coming to you as a direct, right? As when you're the one that's actually reaching out through them using individuals like you, right? That's where you're focusing, is you help attorneys directly market to the potential client. Because the lead source is different, the strategy that you're going to be interacting with the potential client is going to be different. Many attorneys don't realize it.
Right.
And the conversion rate and the result that you're going to get is going to be completely different depending where they're coming from.
So they got exposed to you in the direct marketing aspect, but from a lead generation where that other company is doing all the ads, getting them the leads and bring them to you. That's two different conversations, because the lead generation, you're not necessarily, they don't know about you ahead of time. They know they need.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Exactly. In the lead generation company, we call that, in the marketing terms, completely cold.
Yeah.
Those are cold leads, right? Meaning it's like, they don't know you from Adam. They had no idea by the time they get to you. A lot of times they had no idea even how they even got to you. Because when you're doing research on the internet, or at least for me, and I think, a lot of clients, right? They're just randomly clicking, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's a potential attorney that I might be interested in. But they have no idea who you are or how even they get to you.
Right.
Because the lead generation company they're doing behind the scene whatever it is that they're doing.
Okay.
Now, if somebody was working with somebody who specialized in marketing, legal marketing like you, then what will happen is they would go to their website, or whenever they're being notified, it's actually their law firm would be the one that it's right in front and center.
Right.
So they would then have the opportunity, oh, who is this attorney? They would usually go to your website, look at you, get familiar somewhat with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so by the time they reach out to you, they pretty much have made a determination which way they're going to go. There's something about your website, there's something about how you're directly marketing to them that piqued their interest. So because of that, so that's a warmer lead.
Right.
It can be either really warm or even hot, meaning by the time they talk to your office, it's basically just a confirmation that, yep, this is the firm for me. So that's a huge difference in terms of how you interact with potential clients.
Okay. Okay. And so now we've got a cold lead that doesn't know anything about me, and we've got a warm lead that, say, a company like Law Marketing Zone brings to them. Now, the intake is the first impression of every new potential new client. So that is
Absolutely.
what I've experienced is where a lot of firms are dropping the ball. And is that what you're seeing? That's just, it's not, whether it's empathy or not qualifying correctly. Some don't even qualify affordability, which then once you get them in the attorney's time, it's a waste.
Absolutely. So what most people, so there's two concepts here. A lot of attorneys think that when you are able to connect with a potential client, what they're looking for is legal consultation,
Right.
right? No, it's not a legal consultation.
Okay.
It's a legal enrollment. A legal consultation is when you're talking with a potential client and you're doing substantive, detailed case analysis. You're actually doing the legal work. Usually in that scenario, you would be doing the legal work once they retain you. There is no client-attorney relationship yet. So in this part of the conversation, what you're doing, the whole goal is to connect with them, interact with them, communicate to the potential client for the sole purpose of getting them to say yes, to enroll into your service.
Ideally, yes.
Right?
Right.
And just making that distinction, how you would talk to them, how you would have an interaction is going to be completely different. This is an enrollment conversation, and this is the part where most attorneys are not trained to do.
Okay. But
And why would they're not salespeople?
there's that. Yeah. And normally they have someone else doing the intake. So what are some of the most common intake mistakes that just cost the firm significant revenue?
I think they don't have a structure.
Okay.
They don't have a conversation structure because there's confusion of trying to provide legal advice versus providing an enrollment conversation where the enrollment conversation has a specific structure, and each structure or each section of the conversation serves a different purpose.
Okay.
For example, the first section is all you do. You have 3 seconds. You have 3 seconds to make an impression, like you said, Marilyn, is they loosen 70% right off the bat. The moment you say hello is because what people don't understand is that 3 seconds, all you're trying to establish is rapport. And most people lose it. You have to know how to say, how to interact right away, or else you're going to lose the whole conversation within 3 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
So there's a whole, it's basically there's 7 steps in that conversation, and within each step, it's almost a little old funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things has to happen correctly so that, because then it moves it through the second step. In the second step, certain things has to happen, and then it moves it to the third step until you get to the end of the conversation where you actually offer your service, where you talk about pricing. Most attorneys' office or most intake clients come on, is like, how much is it going to cost me in order to hire a firm? Cost comes right away.
Exactly.
What ends up happening is then that conversation just becomes a price shopping experience, right?
Right.
They have no idea the value. They have no idea what the firm can do for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of businesses have that going on as well. So how would you, okay, in the first 3 seconds, one of the things that I understand is whenever, depending on how your phone is answered, that is a positive or negative experience. If I have to press 1 for this, 2 for that, and up to 9, by the time I get to 9, I'm so over it.
Yeah, another, right. And people do that. Firms do that. They think it's right. There's a couple of things that acts as a gatekeeper.
Yep.
Right? And they're thinking that the more difficult that I make for the potential clients to have access to me, that means that I am more credible. Right?
More important, better at my job.
Yes, you have to put up all this. You have to earn me. You have to earn the right to be in front of me. You make a lot of firms make it difficult, and guess what? Exactly. They're just going to go on to the next potential attorneys.
Yeah.
They're just going to go down. In the olden day, we have the yellow page book, right?
Yes. Exactly. And even like you mentioned local service ads, what a lot of attorneys that are running local service ads don't realize is not very recently, but Google added the little checkbox when someone clicks on your ad that says, should we have 4 other attorneys contact you?
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So they're actually competing just because it's not a sure thing. It's like you need to. So it's the other way around. It's clients are not trying to earn the right to be with you. Now it's the mindset is different. Instead of you have the potential client having to like, oh, I am so important. You have to do all this, go through all of these obstacles in order to be in front of me. Now the kind of, in a way, it's more of a service mindset. It's showing the potential client, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? And one of the ways to do that is remove and get to them as soon as possible. Make it easy for them to say yes to you.
Yes. I remember in early e-commerce days, it was like one of the most important things to tell a new website owner or business owner to make it easy to take their money.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be difficult, but it has to be, I think that intake conversation needs to be empathetic, but it also needs to be informative, and you have to make sure that they can afford you. There are so many mistakes that can happen just by, like you said, starting off wrong or maybe not answering that final question. Could be an ideal case, but if they have no money, and it's not personal injury, obviously, then is it an ideal case?
So here's the other thing, absolutely. But various things has to happen in order for the intake person or the attorney to actually be able to cover all of the topics, Marilyn, that you just mentioned. So what happens when clients, especially family law, criminal law, anything other than PI, right, is you have to understand the emotional state that the potential clients are coming to you. That's like the first test. Family law, criminal law, remember, their life is falling apart.
Right.
There's a sense of urgency. I don't know if anybody has gone through a divorce, which I have. It's, oh my God, it's a major event in your life. Whatever it is you built, it's just crumbling. So the mental state that the client's coming to you, in order for you to even have a productive conversation, one of the first things that needs to be done is you have to stabilize them emotionally. So not only your first hello needs to be about, I am here, I care about you, but they have to have the skill to emotionally calm the person down first. Get them to the point, so slow the conversation down. I think that's why most firms lose 70 to almost 80% of the conversation, is because they don't understand that in order for them to be able to have the rest of the conversation, they have to be able to control the dynamic so that they can guide the potential client through the whole enrollment process.
That makes a lot of sense, because you are those 2 practice areas specifically potentially talking to people in the worst day of their life. Always a high emotion. I know, I understand that. So now, okay, we control the conversation. How do we move into a sales structure, which an intake call is sales, without, especially when people and attorneys struggle with the whole sales side of their practice. But you have to. You have to do sales. It's just what it's called. Whether you want to call it something else, it is sales, so it makes you money. How do you help transition or make them understand this is what's actually happening?
Hey, real quick before we dive back in, if you're a law firm owner and you're tired of guessing what's actually working in your marketing, this is your sign to stop winging it. Law Marketing Zone works exclusively with elite law firms to bring in better clients, higher value cases, and real measurable growth. We're talking SEO, paid ads, local maps, call center support, and more, all done for you. Go to lawmarketingzone.com/book a call and book your case growth session with me. It's free, it's focused, and it could change the trajectory of your firm. Now let's get back to the show.
So first you kind of emotionally connect with them and slow them down. Then you get a big overview of, okay, tell me what happened. That's more of a controlling, getting them to calm down. Tell me what happened. What brought you here to me today?
Mm-hmm.
Get the story and then figure out, okay, bring them down again, bring them down to reality. And okay, at the end of the day, what's really important here? As an attorney, the list of wish list of what's important is going to always be the same. It's going to always be the same, right? If you're in a divorce, because if they have children, I need to figure out how we're going to co-parent. I need to figure out what we're going to do with our marital assets. It's going to be the same conversation, but it's not. But the point is, the questions that you may be asking them, it's not about you. It's about the potential client.
Yeah.
You're getting them to come down. You're getting them to tell the story so that they can, in a way, unload, right? Unload whatever it is that they're carrying. And then once you do that, then you go, okay, you know what? I have good news. This is something that I will be able to help you with.
Okay.
One of the first things that we need to do is we need to go A, B, C, really big legal strategy. And this is where most attorneys get trapped. Then it's very tempting for them to start doing all the detail work and giving legal advice. They can't do that or else they're going to lose the whole conversation. This is where I can protect you in a big high level stuff. And then this is what you're talking about is most people don't get to it's uncomfortable talking about money. They're uncomfortable because money brings in a lot of issues. Brings up for the person who's providing the information and for the person who's receiving the information, but you have to do it. And the best way is, in order for us to come on board, here's the costs. And then pause. Let everything kind of land.
Yeah.
And you have to slow it. You have to say it really slowly because when you talk about money, again, it brings on a lot of emotions because people have difficult relationships with money in general.
Sure.
So you have to slow everything down, right?
Yeah.
Let it land.
I love that. And then, and you can actually control this conversation by your tone and your speed. So you're bringing the emotion down. So you're still having a structured conversation, but you're actually controlling instead of being the one that's getting 20 questions and you're just throwing the answers out. So you're you're building an opportunity to be able to serve these people.
Absolutely. Because one of the framing that I provide for our attorneys is that all clients come with you with two problems. They have all this. The first is the legal problem. The fact that they're able to connect with you, that's a no-brainer. Anytime they connect with a law firm or with an attorney, that's a no-brainer. As long as it's in the practice area, they come to the right place. You have been training your whole people to school, basically all your life to do this. Not a big deal. But here's the other problem that you need to help them solve. If you aren't successful in helping them solve this, you're not going to have a client. And that is, they also have the financial problem.
Okay.
Unless you stay with them and get comfortable and look at this as how can I help you solve this piece of your problem? It's an access problem. If you can't stay with them and help them figure that out, they're not going to be able to stay with you and become your client.
Now, when we're talking about this, sounds like it feels like we're thinking about a long conversation, but we're not. It's not necessarily a long conversation. Would you agree?
No. By the time if you do this correctly, by the time it's all said and done, within 30 minutes or so, you will have a new client. And it's a one-shot deal. It's not, I'll have this conversation, and then I have 2 to 3 other conversations that's 1 hour, 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's one and done. And by the time 10, 15 minutes into the conversation, you will know whether you are having a successful enrollment conversation or not.
I love the way you frame that because we're also looking at building rapport in the beginning. You're controlling the conversation or the emotions of the conversation, I should say, and you're building in your mind what you can do to help. I love that. And one conversation structured correctly can save, say, 3 weeks of follow-up calls and they never choose you.
Absolutely. Here's another thing. Really, this one conversation, 90% of the time, is the only opportunity that you're going to have to get them to decide whether they're going to move forward with you. If you have to do a follow-up, 75, 85, 90% of the time, it's not going to happen, because here's what that's going to look like. You're going to try to call them to have a follow-up. Nobody's going to answer your call.
I think anyone in sales has experienced that. Yeah. So when you
Right.
do get them on the phone, that's the one thing. Now, here's the other question for you. What do you feel like how speed to lead it impacts the conversation? Because say someone came through an ad, right? So we're doing ads. Someone comes through the ad. They didn't call, right? They just filled out a form. Now, how many forms?
Unless you're a PI attorney, unless you're a PI firm, that's a terrible person interaction. I call that, you just completely just wasted a lead. That, for me, because that meant that there's no contact.
Yeah. We really push the phone number everywhere. We're pushing everything for a phone number, not a form fill. But if someone doesn't pick up the phone, but they fill out a form and submit the form and then go on about their day, to us, it's really important to get on that lead immediately while they're thinking of it.
Absolutely.
If you can't get to it until tomorrow, and that's one of the things we offer, a 24/7 client intake. A lead comes in at 2:30 a.m. You don't know what they're going through in their life, and they need an attorney, and they called you. They can't wait until 9:30 tomorrow.
I love that. No, I love that. That's one of the aspects of your service that got me excited when we reconnected, was the fact that not only do you work on the marketing and bringing people, right, attorneys, leads, but you have that basically an initial intake team to capture that. Because here's what happens. You have between 5 to 10 minutes to respond to people.
Max.
Remember the phone book scenario? I know I just aged myself, right? Because if you don't get to interact with them, and we're talking about contact process. And the contact that matters is when you actually get a chance to speak with them. It's not, oh, I sent them an email, which is the worst case, right? It's like terrible. Nobody looks at their email anymore. Or I texted them. That doesn't count. You actually, in order for you to maximize the potential, you have to be able to speak with them. And if you don't get to them within 10 to 15 minutes, your opportunity after, I think, 15 or something like that drops to about 75%.
Yeah.
It literally just goes off the cliff.
Yeah.
And that is why if you are not available, because it makes sense, especially if you're solo, you might be in court. You're busy. You're not just, right, trying to do the marketing piece, client acquisition piece, but you're also doing the legal work. That's why it's so important to work with a marketing partner. And we're talking, it really is a partnership that also has the intake where if you aren't able to do that, do they have system and process in place to help you get through that first hurdle, which is the contact and scheduling, right, process.
Well, the one thing that a lot of
Absolutely.
attorneys don't realize about local service ads is if you actually put in your Google Business profile that you're a 24/7 that you can take calls 24/7, and
you need to be available 24/7.
Because now this is a new feature as well. If you don't answer the phone after 5 p.m., right, at say midnight or 10 p.m. or whatever, on I think it's 1 or 2 occasions, they stop showing your ad after hours. So here you're paying $500 to $2,000 a week for local service ads. You didn't answer your phone after hours. They will no longer eventually stop showing your ad after hours.
I had no idea.
Yeah. That's part of their
you're
AI.
going to be available 24/7.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the AI because if you don't respond, they're not making any money.
That's right.
Right?
Because they
Their
pick up the phone and talk to that lead. All the more reason for them to say, hey, Miss Lead, would you like me to give you 4 other attorneys that you could talk to? So
that's right.
I can see it's totally clear
Absolutely.
when you say that law firms are losing 70% of the cases that they pay to bring their leads in. So it's
a literally fall off. In fact, that's one of what you can't, it's all metrics, right? You have to be able to measure all of this because then you can, especially for you, if the attorneys that you're working with, you generate the marketing that is needed to send them all the potential clients. If they don't have a way to track, there's no metrics. It's like you can't adjust, right? So one of the metrics that I help attorneys and figure out is, what is your contact rate?
Yeah.
If your marketing person is bringing in 20, 30 leads a day and you're contacting maybe 5, there's a problem, right?
Yes.
There's a huge problem. There's a gap here. There's a breakdown in your system. There's a freaking hole that we need to figure out where it's at and fix it.
Yeah, because it's
that's
not
my
always
anxiety.
the leads suck. That's what we get all the times. And when we start digging into it, because we use call tracking numbers and we track as much as we can, come down to it, it's not that the leads suck. It's that you're not actually reaching the leads. You're not having someone have that.
Here's my experience in working. Literally, this is where I can absolutely say 85 to 90% of the time, if you're having client acquisition issues, it's not marketing.
No, it's processes.
It's not a marketing
It's systems
issue.
and processes.
Internal. It's the internal, what's happening in the office, how you're receiving, what systems that you have in place, who you have interacting with a potential client. Right?
Right.
Because, it's usually, that's where I first go, is before you change anything, if you have a marketing partner that you're working with and they are able to generate and bring in clients, before you start making shift externally, let's figure out what's happening internally. And usually we will be able to identify it within 1 to 2 conversations, implement something, implement a process, and they will basically get almost whatever implementation, whatever strategy that we put in place, they will get almost an immediate feedback.
I'd imagine. Yeah, especially if you make a consistent phone ringing, consistent leads coming in. I think we have uncovered a big weakness. And for any of our listeners that accept the fact they're like, I think our intake's not doing us any favors, where would they connect with you and learn more and actually try to fix this problem?
Absolutely. They can go to gozinger.com.
Okay.
Or they can reach out to me at support@gozinger.com.
All right, excellent. We'll make sure we have those in your phone number in the show notes for everybody. But I think you brought on a very good point and a place to look at of a weakness in a firm that could be making you thousands more dollars a month if you just fix this one piece.
Absolutely. Just so you know, Marilyn, we haven't had a chance. This week, I just published on Amazon a book with some of the ideas that we're talking about here.
Oh, great.
Your attorneys and your audience would like to know more. It's more higher level, but it basically, one of the things that I was in working with our clients, one of the things that I was realizing is that when you have, even if you have intake, a lot of times the reason why they're not interacting is because they don't know what to listen for.
Okay.
Even in the conversations, they don't know what to listen for. And so I talked about that within the structure of the enrollment conversation, so that if you already have an intake team in place and you want to up-level and help train them, that would be a good starting point. So
okay, then I'll get a link to the book. And I do love the way you frame the intake conversation to enrollment. We're enrolling new clients every time we talk to people. So that's fantastic. I'll get a link to your book and have that in the show notes as well.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's been a great conversation. Thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Leadership in Law podcast. Before you go, I want to make sure that you know about something that could be a real game changer for your firm. If you've been doing the work, showing up, serving clients, but your marketing still isn't producing the caseload you know you deserve, that's exactly the problem Law Marketing Zone was built to solve. My team and I work exclusively with law firms, and we don't do cookie cutter. We build a strategy around your practice, your market, and your goals. More high-quality leads, better cases, less stress, and more profit. Head over to lawmarketingzone.com/book-a-call and book your free case growth session today. The link is in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next episode.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Leadership in Law podcast. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of law firm owners out there facing similar challenges and striving for the same success. Head over to our website at lawmarketingzone.com. From there, connect with other listeners, access valuable resources, and stay up to date on the latest episodes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, keep leading with vision and keep growing your firm.